Eccoci qua. Siete sotto shock? Qualcuno magari sì. Però sono abbastanza sicura che stasera, se conosco un po' i miei spettatori e spettatrici, scusate il possessivo, però mi viene un po' delle volte, sono sicura che da voi arriveranno un bel po' di domande, di commenti, quindi intanto voi preparatele. Nel frattempo io magari rompo un po' il ghiaccio con qualche prima domanda, ma non tante perché voglio lasciare spazio a voi per l'appunto. Ehm, eh, Lui capisce perfettamente l'italiano, poi parlerà in inglese. Se per caso avete delle difficoltà di comprensione, ditemelo, cercherò di fare una traduzione rapida, eh, se riesco. Se no, insomma, andiamo così, io con l'italiano e lui con l'inglese, o lo spagnolo, come preferisci, ma forse l'inglese è più comprensibile per la maggior parte. Io partirei da qualche domanda pratica sul making of e poi andiamo più in profondità, magari piano piano. Perché questo è il tuo primo, credo, primo film documentario. E quindi volevo sapere, so che hai montato il film insieme al direttore della fotografia e questo è molto interessante. E so che anche i tempi di realizzazione di questo film sono stati molto diversi rispetto a quelli degli altri tuoi film precedenti. E volevo sapere qualcosa di più su come appunto tu e il direttore della fotografia e quindi le camere, le macchine da presa, ma anche i microfoni, come siete riusciti ad avvicinarvi così tanto sia alla corrida in sé, sia al torero, alla sua intimità e come hai lavorato in particolare con il direttore della fotografia?
A lot of questions mixed,
Yeah.
um, and long questions, all of them. Uh, I mean, director of photography here. It's a young guy. I am 49. The guy is 35 or something like that, or 36 maybe now. I don't know. But it started to work with me as a producer, as assistant, or as even doing mails for me because did an interview to me. This is very interesting. This is very interesting to understand contemporary cinema. Uh, he did an interview when he was in university. We are talking about 2009 or 10. And it was like 22 or 23 or something like that. And with an interview, and I don't know, some years later, I wrote the name of the two guys that interviewed me. And he said, they look smart people or whatever, students, whatever. And I said, okay. I called one of them because I wrote and this was this guy. And I said, okay, do you want to work, as assistant to me, like writing mails on production or like, so that. So he spent several 2 or 3 years, like in a Hollywood system, they start doing, I don't know, I mean, helping me on the mails or whatever. And then one day he says, but I would love to do so, work more involved on the shooting or do camera work. And I said, fine. I always use 3 cameras. You will take one. You will not be cinema director of photography, but you will take none. It's done. I will decide. It's me who decides. You know. So okay. So we did two or three films. That of Louis XIV with a French cinematographer, and some other for the art wall. And then I realized because I do something that it's quite smart because I do always 3 cameras. I shoot since the very beginning 3 cameras. No, I am a mean person. So when the edit is done, you know, when everything is finished, I said, let's count how many, minutes I take from every cameraman because they have independence. I never check anything on the camera. I mean, yes, but maybe 5% or 10% of the shots, or less than 10%. Yeah, who is the one who gave me more interesting material? Because this is scientific. Because I do the edit, only based on my criteria. I didn't even check it. I don't know. I don't even see, in the rushes who is doing the camera or so. It's scientific approach at the end. I am not focused on that. I don't care when I am doing it. But at the end, I care. So I do this, and I said, wow, the guy was doing more. Of course, it's not about doing more at the end. It's about conversation, and because he was not corrupted by, he was not somebody that studied for cinematography from a film school and doing films with other people. No, he's not this kind of people, these bullshit people. So he just, like me, like, most of the people that works in the film, people that, okay, they don't work for other people. They are just there. I will not say 100%, but I would say 80% of the people. Okay. So, and okay, I said, well, twice, if you do one film and another one, and he has more score, then he said, you will be the cinematographer. Okay? That's good. But before being the cinematographer, to answer your question, it was just a long introduction to understand what I will say now, that it's the answer to your question. It's that he was starting editing. I said, you have to help me on the edit too. No, this was in parallel of, even in parallel of doing the first, not in parallel, maybe a little bit later when he did, the first try being one of the cameramen, but, she said, but you have to edit, because editing, you understand, because, contemporary cinema, it's not about, and this was 10 years ago, and I said, contemporary cinema is not about, cinematographer, it's not about doing lighting or whatever, nowadays you put it on artificial intelligence, and you say, I want Gordon Willis look, I want, I don't know, Bill Sigmund look, I want, I don't know, whoever the cinematographer you prefer. And the artificial intelligence makes you in seconds. Perfect. Even if you shoot the most bullshit thing. The artificial intelligence transforms whatever you shoot as a cinematographer in something quite astonishing and respectable. And even you can choose the look. But this was 10 years ago. All these things didn't exist. But somehow I had the intuition that this was not that important to create contemporary cinema. That because we started to have digital tools, not, this huge improvement that it's artificial intelligence, but, something quite interesting and fast, and, I started to make films in 35, in 2006, it was very primitive at that time. But I understood that it was very fast, because when you do the mobile phones or the computers or everything that is digital, it's evolving very fast, So I thought that this will evolve also very fast. It will not be an exception. So then I said, okay, no. What it counts is to edit. Because with editing, then not about the light or the colors or this shit. Of course, it's still important, and there are some conversations, and I choose the camera myself. I never touch a camera in my life. I never put rec or recording in any camera, but I choose the camera, and I choose the lenses, because I know, and, I'm very, super skilled in hi-fi and all the technology. But I don't like to touch any camera because I am superstitious, because until now, it worked very well for me. So if I start touching any camera, I think things will change. So I don't want to do it. But I do the research, and I know, and I am quite aware of what's going on in the... But anyway, then, okay, the camera I choose, there is conversations, a little bit, whatever. But what is important was the edit. Because when you are alone, there, in this film, I don't want you to make a capture of reality. Who cares about what is going on here? I don't care about them. I don't care about... You have to create cinema images. And of course now, if you shoot 4K or 6K, I can compose again and recompose and cut, and I can do whatever I want, of course. But still, you have to understand what are you shooting and why. And of course, I show these people all the camera operators, the three, that they have not to be focused on the monitor, but look what's going on and decide and understand why and why they are choosing something or not, because it's a how to say, ampari, betting, no? You are betting because I like long shots, and long shots it means like 2 minutes minimum. So it means that if the camera operator is doing something, he has to be convinced that this something will work. It's a bet. So, how can you make this bet of 2 minutes if you don't do edit? It's impossible. You are like a childish person. You are a stupid person.
You have to understand what you're doing.
Of course, what you are not what you are looking for, because you never know and I don't know, but the pressure of looking for cinema images. And what is a cinema image, what is not, and why you are selecting this instead of this, or this instead of this, or So this you only learn doing edit, and especially edit of complex films or films with a lot of layers. So, the guy understood that this was the most important thing. It's a unique case in humanity, probably. It's what it will be a standard in 5 years for art house cinema. But, when I started to do this 10 years ago, it was unique in humanity. Because nobody thought that a cinematographer should be editor. For me, now, if you told me about a cinematographer that it's not editor, for me it's bullshit. It's like, this seat. It's like this, this curtain. I will not even talk. Do I talk with a curtain? No. Do I talk with this? No. I mean, is this talking thing? No. I mean, I will never talk with a cinematographer that it's not editing. Even not a conversation in a bar. I don't want to hear their bullshit. I don't want to have any conversation. All the information I can gather it in the internet. I don't even need their opinion of anything. So what is important is to edit. So here I put this until the super extreme consequences and the result. And okay, you will say, are the 3 cameramen, camera operators like this? And I said, no. No. Because, for the reason I have 3. Because I have one that is this one, that it shares my taste. And it's perfect. Then I have another one that, okay, edit a little bit, did, his own things, blah, 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 but it's not that connected and it's not that, sharp and, deep as the other one, because the other one has a deep connection of what I think that it should be. But it's okay. This guy can discover things that I will never had thought before. And then I have a third one that it's zero connected with me, that it's a guy that doesn't do edit. Do edit, but, of childish things. But, so it's good. I mean, the equilibrium is perfect, because if I will have 3, like the first one, it will be a dictatorship, and we will never discover anything that I don't know.
So you are more surprised maybe sometimes by the third one that brings something different.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to be safe.
Yeah.
It means that you make a film, and you spend 1.3 million to make a film. I mean, I am director and producer, so, I mean, I like to win. So,
you need the best, the middle, and
I found this equilibrium. I created
one.
myself. It was an evolution. I mean, it was an intuition from the beginning, but it was sophisticated with time, slowly. So, just to answer the question, and you understand, what is important for cinematography is not to make the light, it's not to make the colors, it's not to make the composition. It's 6K. 35 millimeters is below 2K. You can cut. I mean, I shoot in 6K. I mean, I shoot it here, and I can do a close-up in the post-production of you, and it will be perfect, and it will be like 35 millimeters. Because from 6K to less than 2K, 2K or 2K, I don't know in English, I can shoot like this, and then I do a close-up of you, and it's the same quality that 35 millimeters. So who cares about the fucking composition? You don't need to be a genius. The genius will come after, on the edit with time and calm, and, and especially when you shoot, like this, that it's very, how to say, chaotic, and we were in the room, and they said, "Get in." And we just entered then in the room of the hotel, so we shoot it 7 or 8 times, and we didn't know if there will be big or small, there will be light or artificial light or windows, or the furniture will be ugly. We didn't know anything. And we just have to, adapt very quickly without saying anything and without being able to talk to him. The same with the van. In the van we put a fixed camera, but we prepare a little bit the light, but we prepare the light in the morning. We didn't know if they will sit. We tell them, 10 times, you have to sit here, you have to sit here, and you have to sit here. And they get into the van, and every day, one sits here, one sits here, one sits here. I said, what the fuck, what is your problem with the brain?
Luckily,
you have just to sit here.
Luckily, the main character is set always in the same place.
Yeah, well, he's very it's one of the subjects of the film, narcissism of the main guy. He wants to be in front of the camera. And he, that it's all the time looking at the mirror.
He wanted to turn off the light, but you needed the light.
Yes, of course, but he didn't remember that this was, but he's all the time looking at the glass of the van, in the mirrors on the hotel. It's narcissism. What? I think it's justified, because, the most beautiful thing of narcissism, it's when you perform something that it's the top of exhibitionism. And for me, in this wall, I don't know, maybe you will give me another example, but in this wall, the top of exhibitionism, it's bullfighting, because it's somebody that is doing super stylish and feminine and as slower as possible and more delicate as possible with these costumes and blah, 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 and dominating, such a dangerous animal, and that it's life-threatening. So what is there more interesting from exhibitionism point of view, if you show your body and your movements in such a circumstance with such a costume, and there is no, with such outrageous decor that it's the blood and and that land,
yes, it's
death and life.
Perfect mixture of the most interesting, aesthetically more interesting parts of women and men.
Yes, it has always been there. Huh?
Traditional women.
But it's very mysterious, because all the people there are very far right. In the intimacy, it's another question. But in the most of the audience, this is another, and the reason why I didn't want to shoot the audience, and I wanted to avoid the folkloric, the sociological, political aspect of the film, because most of the audience nowadays is right-wing or far-right. What is quite understandable.
So you decided from the beginning to let them apart out of the...
Not at the beginning, but I shoot 11 corridas, so from the second or third it was obvious that it didn't have any interest, and this was a ridiculous thing. But it's a strange thing, because, in the 20th century, corrida was popular. It was left-wing, right-wing people, it was just a popular thing, popular roots coming from centuries before. But now in the 20th century, especially with the evolution of society, of the last 20 years or 30 years, it looks like it's right-wing. But at the same time, in Spain, left-wing or far left, try to ban corrida. So there is 150,000 people living from that. It's like if they tell us, we will ban cinema because you are propagandists of left-wing ideas. Will we vote left-wing? No. Right-wing, sorry. We will vote right-wing. No, they want to ban cinema. So somehow, and this is the point of my observation, innocent observation, they say, okay, right-wing, yeah, because in the parliament, the left-wing tried to ban this. It's their work, it's their job, has centuries of tradition. I understand that they will not vote for left-wing if they want to ban, this activity where there is this, so many people, and has a tradition of, will you vote right-wing if they want to ban cinema? No, probably cinema, there will be only left-wing people at the end. because the right-wing people think, this is a perversion place, and spreading a strange, left-wing ideas or craziness, and we have to ban it. So of course, the right-wing again. Sorry. But this I became a little bit more understood, but at the same time, of course, it's boring. The audience, right-wing, they are all super dressed in a super conventional way, and they are sleepy and drunk and smoking a cigar, and I don't.
There is some moment in the movie when we see something like.
But it's very close because you can avoid them, because when they are in the corridor, I mean.
But actually, they are.
I like it. It's a moving.
Yeah, it's a fun moment when you see this man.
Yes.
Don't watching, and you wonder why.
Because it's terrible moments.
But he is here to see those moments. But he decided not to watch.
Well, I was always doing like this all the time, but I was doing it because I was afraid for the torero. And people make jokes about me. Said, you're the director and you're doing like this. And he said, yes, but this is what I was doing in my feature films also, because I didn't want to see the bullshit of the professional actors, so I had to do this. And here, okay, it's because of the, that I don't want to see the bullfighter, hard. And I was afraid of that.
Yeah, actually, it was a very risky production.
Yes, especially the third, when he's wounded the third time, it's a miracle that he's alive. This is true miracle. But, most of the big
this thing of the miracle, maybe we can talk more later. But in my question, there was also the aspect of the confidence, la fiducia che tu riesci ad avere con il protagonista, per cui entri.
This is very mysterious.
Soprattutto io ho pensato, lui è molto concentrato, è sempre molto focalizzato su quello che vuole fare, che deve fare. La tua presenza non lo distrae, non gli dà fastidio.
No, because we shoot the most important days of the season with the most dangerous bulls. He was under a lot of artistic pressure. It was a lot of, tension, extreme tension. So the camera, or our presence, the camera and myself, was the last problem he has to solve, What I don't understand is why, because here you have these images is for the first time in history, Even the greatest experts on bullfighting, they never had access to these images, because these are close-ups, long, and, this kind of perspective, never had it. Even the torero himself, he complained, he didn't like the film at all. He complained about the violence of the film, and he said that there was too much violence. But it's quite ridiculous coming from him. I mean, he's the one that is the angel, the angel, exterminator angel. I mean, but it's true. Maybe he never saw a close-up of the bull dying in such a, poetic, I would not say beautiful, but beautiful, poetic, and terrible at the same time, all this ambiguity, and also so deep in the sense that this is life, there is life and death, and, life is abandoning the bull, and, probably he never spent his time, or he never had the perspective of looking at this. And not even any expert of there, because they are far. You need close-ups, you need the time, you need this kind of edit, you need a filmmaker behind to give you, this kind of tricky and a little bit provocative, images. So they never had it before. And this is quite, I don't know. For me, for them was shocking, because...
Il potere del cinema.
Yes, the cinema and the fantasy, the fantasy that gives more truth than the reality. Because these people that are executing truth, are executing reality never saw this. But this, it's more real than what they do. Because this is a caption of the camera, strict caption of the camera and touch. And this is my old theory, and we talk about this when I came here about pacifiction, that the camera, in my films, 80 or 90% of the film that you see here, the qualities, the beautiful things, the poetic things, whatever it's the quality of 90% of the images you see here, it's not visible to the human eyes during the shooting. You cannot see it. It's not visible. It's too subtle. It's too complex. It's not visible. You need the camera to capture it, and then when the camera has captured it, then you can judge. And then you can start, what is this? And what is this? And what is this? It's, 90% not visible on the shooting for the human eyes. So it means that everything is new for everybody. If you are against corrida, okay, here you have a lot of material to be against. You are for corrida, okay, you never saw these images either. You are the torero yourself. No, you never saw the bull dying like this. So I'm sorry. You were there, you killed him, but you didn't never spend the time or the concentration or the precision or the poetry. Your eyes, maybe, or your sensibility don't have the poetry to see the things like this. But this is a caption of reality. I didn't create any, this is not a feature film. It's not fiction. It's everything based on reality. So, and the sound, they never heard, nobody heard any of these dialogues, never, ever, not even the experts, And this is funny because, this was something I really love. Because my obsession was to put out folkloric, political, sociological, okay. I wanted to make a conceptual film. But they said, and my inspiration was a little bit, this film by Philippe Parreno, Zidane, Portrait of 21st Century, Well, not inspiration, but, and I said, okay, let's do. But this is for museums. I hate contemporary art. I don't like museums. I don't like contemporary art people. I don't want to be part of them. I don't want to be close to them. So I want something that it will not be folklorical or political or sociological, but it will be conceptual, but not too much. So it means that life has to penetrate. So when I started discovering the dialogues in the edit process, because we never pay attention to the dialogues, we said, fuck, these people is crazy. And they are saying funny dialogues in terrible circumstances. So this is to say, the bull is criminal. It's funny, no? Usually a criminal is somebody that is doing something bad in purpose or consciously, or the poor bull. Well, he's not doing something bad. He's not doing anything bad, and on purpose even less. So, just defending, himself there. And it's a criminal. Or I said, I will drink a beer, or a beer colder than your mother, or something like that. Or I don't know, with which you have, you have killed the two bulls with which truth, deep truth. What does it mean to kill a bull with deep truth? Or, it's full of sentences. Or you said, I've been lucky today, and the manager comes there and do like this and said, and you will always be, because you deserve it. You heard that? I deserve it too. I will always be lucky. Who guarantees this? Which, who is guaranteed? I deserve it too.
Yeah, it's a really strange group
It's a really,
of people.
it's a real strange ethics, but there is something moving. For me, there are two things moving. The first one is that, they say outrageous things. The balls, you have bigger balls than the stadium, all these crazy things that repeat and repeat endlessly. That for me it's funny. I'm sorry, it's funny. And but they say this, in a way, and if you see the faces of these people when they say this outrageous sentence, there is a little contradiction, because the faces, how they say this, it's not matching the content. They look nicer. And they not only look nicer because with him I didn't have any kind of contact, I didn't know him. For me it's a total mystery, the matador, the main one. But the other one, the helpers, the cuadrilla, they were nice. I know them. So they are saying outrageous things in a nice way. And I was reading an interview with this guy that I love. I read only 1 or 2 books, but not the main one. That it's James Ellroy, you know, the guy writing L.A. Confidential, you know, this film. And he said something very interesting here. So because, you know, stupid people nowadays, they think, if you're a racist, if you are homophobic, if you are whatever, they want you to think that this is a permanent condition. You know, that it doesn't move, that you are like this, and, you know, and you are like this because there is some kind of strange fate or whatever, you know. And he says that, but what people don't, and you know, don't like, is that you can find a racist or a homophobic or whatever, that it's homophobic by accident, you know, and that it's not a permanent condition. It's not a, you know, or even that, you know, nice people are using racist or homophobic language. You know, he was dealing with this ambiguity. And, you know, when I read this, I said, well, this is a little bit the case of these people, because I know them and they are very nice, and somehow they are Pasolinian, you know, human beings. You cannot even find these people nowadays in Italy now. You know, they disappear. You know, these popular roots or this kind of poetic, you know, popular roots, there is no more. Everybody is on the fucking internet and on the vanity of the images, and, you know, it's very...
No, there are still some...
But very few, I mean.
Ceremonies, religious ceremonies.
Well, this is a ritual.
Really, yeah.
This is a ritual. But the people, that it's not connected with the reality, that they really live in a bubble, that where, you know, that genetically even, you know, somehow, because they, you know, these people, I am 49, all the helpers are 43, 44, 45. They look, you know, 5 years older than me, all of them. You know, it's very strange kind of people, you know. It's like if they were living, you know, in the 20th century, in the 60s or in the 50s, where people was living 70 years old. Well, in fact, the bullfighters, they have retirement at 52 in Spain, or 55, I don't remember. I think it's 52. So everybody retires at 65, 67 now. But bullfighters, no, or helpers at 52. So maybe they should look older, because something happens in there.
But they really seem in love with Matador.
Yeah. There is one shot, incredible shot, my favorite shot of the film, in the, not the last, but the previous of the last, at the end of the film, where, you know, there is artificial light with this bull that it's black and white at the end, where they walk a little bit, and one of the helpers look at him smiling. Have you seen this shot? It's very, and the smile, it's something, I don't know, it says a lot. Also in the van, you know, one is crying on the right. It's crying because it's still shocked, and this was 45 minutes after the end of the other one, it says, wow, the truth, you have killed the truth, everybody should be proud of you. But the other one is, you know, is crying on the left. Have you seen it in the van, the one on the right? And at the same time, and he is totally absent and in his own wall. I mean, this is the beauty of documentary and reality, that no non-script writer can imagine one scene like this. Because the human brain, it's not, you know, cannot create such a diversity of elements, so many layers of complexity. It's something that it's contradictory, because human brain tends to unity, and especially conventional script writers tends to, you know, write unity.
Sì,
and here there is no unity.
Si semplifica un po' quando forse.
Yes, schematic scripts. And, you know, this idea was, of course, very important idea, that what the images say, what the dialogue says, you know, it's very ambiguous from moral point of view. Because the people look nice, but of course they kill the bulls. And of course it's beautiful, but of course it's horror. You know, and I like that, because I didn't have anything, I mean, I didn't care about them. And as I said, the second thing, important thing, is that the guy hated the film. And he told me when he saw the film, said, you betray me. I give you all the access and everything, and you betray me. I was sad because it's true that everything exists from this. It's very strange because he gave faxes in 5 minutes. I never talked to him again 5 minutes late in the middle of the shooting to convince him because all the other ones were wearing the microphone, but not himself. He was a little bit, like reluctant. He was like a star. He's the number one in the world. So I don't want to. So I had to convince because if without this in the middle of the arena we didn't have anything of sound, of course. So, and I talked to him 5 minutes, and okay, he said yes, more or less he accepted, and he did it more or less, or more than before. But he saw the film. He said, "You betray me." I like that.
And the rest of the group?
Now, because the film is successful, so I am sorry, I am mean, and it has become some kind of a landmark of thinking. But, you cannot tell them at the beginning, but maybe the duty of every documentary filmmaker is to betray the people. No? If not, what you are doing, advertising for their money, or that it's now, in the coffin.
And the rest of the group, what did they say? Cosa hanno detto gli altri?
The other loved the film. And this was important also for
So they betrayed him too.
They are not the main protagonist, and they don't have such a responsibility. So the problem was for him, because it's very. I don't know. I don't understand him, because even in the film, you see him and you don't understand if he's a totally empty person or he's, that there is a spiritual approach. You never understand. It's so hermetic.
Maybe he thought to be more elegant.
Yes,
even
of course.
More
He complained
nicer.
it was too violent and there was not enough success. That is the number one. But it was not my fault, not his fault. We shoot the corridas that were very dangerous, very difficult, and that he was not lucky those days. But for me, for the essence of what is the corrida, it doesn't matter if he's successful or not. You understood what is the core, the main elements, the interactions, the layers inside the corrida with this film. It doesn't matter if it is successful or not. It's being successful or not, it's for experts to see the difference between doing like this or this or this. It's millimeters of difference. The essence of the thing, it's the same here.
Lui voleva uno spot, voleva una rappresentazione edulcorata, forse.
But everybody that is the protagonist of a documentary wants that. For this reason, I don't like documentaries, because everybody is hypocrite. Well, I was receiving burofax, letter recommendé. I say burofax, you understand, these kind of things that you have to receive from lawyers the day of presentation in San Sebastian from his lawyers. So they try to, try to prevent the film be shown. So it's not a joke. And there was a huge fight. Now he calmed down because the film is successful, and people told him, well, maybe for you and for corrida, this is not that bad. I mean, at least it's a very complex portrait of what's going on. And yes, a lot. But I understand. But which documentaries of the people we were talking about in the dinner, that, they have the lawyers. But I was doing a positive film about them. Because people say, this is the most fascinating thing of the film. For me, this is the most fascinating. I mean, people say, this is the film pro-corrida or against corrida? And I said, well, I am 49, I will be 50 very soon. I don't do negative things. I don't like it. I will not do a film to criticize something. I don't want to lose the rest of my life in criticizing. It's negative thinking, If I do a film, even a documentary about whatever, it's because I have at least a little bit of curiosity in positive, or at least a little bit of fascination in positive, or a little bit, at least innocence, to understand and to understand what's going on. So I cannot be a criticism because I don't have anything to say about it. I don't want to have any kind of idea a priori. I want the camera to shoot. We'll give 90% of unseen information in history of humanity. So now that as I edit the film, I edit 700 hours. So I am the man in the history of humanity that knows more and better about bullfighting than anybody else in history of humanity, because this is unseen material, and with the unseen perspective, because nobody had these cameras and nobody had this sound and nobody had this intelligence of the camera operator. So, I am the most expert in history of humanity. There is nobody else. So, okay, but still, I was curious. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I don't want to think. No, but this is.
You want to explore something that is.
And this is the fascinating thing. So it was not negative, because when you are in negative, here maybe you saw documentaries that were criticizing something happening, no? The neighborhood, or the evil people, I don't know, in Israel, or the evil people in Palestine, or Russians, or wherever, or Donald Trump, or I don't know, whatever, or in the city hall, or capitalism, or I don't know, or in the Second World War.
C'è solo l'imbarazzo della scelta.
Yes, whatever. But if it's in negative, why do you need the camera? When you do something in negative, you feel that your opinion prevails to what you will shoot, more than if you simply have innocence and modesty and you say, okay, I am curious, because curiosity means it's a positive feeling. Curiosity. It's there is a very beautiful writer I adore that died, a French historian, Paul Vane. They said the engine, the motor, what it pushes you, it's curiosity. Curiosity is the most important. So I was curious. If you want to say something in negative, you feel that you are above the subject. You feel that you know more than the people you are about to shoot, or about the subject. So why just fucking write a book if you are so intelligent? So, but just to finish, I was curious, and I was positive, and they wanted to sue me. And this was extreme tension, not the day of the screening in the festival, that it was like an apotheosis and whatever, but all the negotiations with, I am producer of the film, but with co-producers, on the previous 3 weeks, because they wanted to change things, that they were, like blackmail and a lot of, these kind of things. And, so why I am positive and they want to sue me, and these people that, or they love so much, the subject they are praising, or the subject, and nobody wants to sue them. Well, maybe sometimes yes, but I mean, it's a hypocrisy, because if you do a film that it's it's on cinemas, it's very difficult that you are doing something so outrageous against the people. Laura Potras, he said about this company of the medicaments, why don't you do the same with Google? Or Amazon, or Meta, Microsoft. He's doing, poor, shitty company, that was important, I don't know how many years ago. Why don't you go against Google? Let's do it. Let's try with Amazon. Let's try with Apple. Let's try against all together. What is these people? What are you talking about? The shitty people of, that it's, has no power at all. And in fact, they have no power because you see them that, they complain and they, well, I don't think, Google will be so nice, or, or Google, Amazon, Meta, and, you're the most underground person, and you are using the Apple, the Google all the time, the Meta, you have Instagram and Facebook, and you have, you receive the package from Amazon, and you have Amazon Web Service that it's giving all the websites you are making consultation, and you use all these things to criticize these bullshit people, these poor people, these, weak people, that of this, okay, I don't know what, of course, pharmacy, it's horrible, but you don't have to go to that far. I mean, you can, well, not that far, it's from the States, but, I mean, you can go to Switzerland, it's closer. So, I mean,
Sì,
I
insomma,
mean,
la
it's
purezza è un po'
ridiculous. Yeah, you cannot
complicata.
pretend to be pure on criticizing. So for me, innocence it's better, and it's linked to what I said at the beginning, that the idea of deleting data. You don't know anything. 95% of the Italian films that are shown on cinemas, no, today, no, 95, no, but maybe 80 or 85. Artificial intelligence will do it better. You don't need a director, probably even not actors. Will copy what he has done before, and will do it better or similar. Better, but very similar. Well, in 5 years we'll do it better, or in 3 years. But this, no, 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 no. They will need 100 years. I even don't think they can do it, because it's about deleting data. All my efforts was about not having any idea, or destroying the idea, or loving them and betraying them at the same time. What kind of artificial intelligence can put itself in a position of loving truly somebody and at the same time feeling the need of betraying this somebody with, such a deep need, and at the same time keeping the curiosity and the innocence alive?
And
It's too
also,
complex.
and also artificial intelligence would never delete data because they are
Yeah, of course.
their
They will be
nature.
empty.
Yeah.
But we have the data inside. We come with we are born with the data. It just, develop it in the most crazy way. Not the most conventional way. The most crazy way. You come with the data. You are the son of somebody. There is some circumstance. You live in a concrete place. The data is there. You live here in Milan, in this neighborhood, and you work at another place, and you have, I don't know, you have a background, and this background is your data. You don't need to push on it. You already have it. So you don't need to make a drama of that. So how to, and for the reason this is impossible, and I will always survive.
Volevo lasciare molto spazio a voi, ma, ma forse è già molto tardi, infatti. Ma vediamo, se ci sono un paio di domande, però le facciamo. Se c'è qualcuno che ha una domanda, vediamo, sì.
I wanted to ask if there is any manipulation with the people you filmed, since you talked about the difference between documentary and fiction, and you didn't really talk with the matador in a deep way. So I was wondering, is there any direction whatsoever, or no?
I mean, it's a good question. No. Objectively, not. I never told to them. I never. What doesn't mean that, these are weak people, that they are not used to cameras, that they don't know the power of cameras, that I know that if now with the new transmitters, I know that I will put the transmitters and the microphones are sealed, and the new transmitters in some years ago can last for 5 hours or 6 hours. I know they will forget. I'm sure. They are in front of the bull of, 600 kilos, and they are under a lot of pressure, they will for sure forget the microphone. Or they will forget the cameras. Is this manipulation for you? Call it as you want. I mean, I didn't talk to them, I didn't never said anything, but I knew it will happen. And it's not only that I knew, because in the film you see a small part of what I record. But I can tell you in the van, or not in the room because it's a silent, a private thing, but in the van when they are more talkative, because it's not all the scenes, but some of them are after the corrida. So, I mean, if you have the sensation that the film is without filter, what is true, and every scene in the room, in there, everywhere, it's because it's true. Because if I show, or if I tell you what I have recorded in the van, the dialogues, you will not believe it. Because we all go to prison, so. I mean, So that it's without filter is this manipulation. What can I say? I mean, I just put the microphones. I knew that after 6 hours, every normal person don't, that it's under such a pressure that it's not linked with the microphones on the camera, So for me it was beautiful because it was a little bit the same story with feature films, in the sense that pressure is good for actors. There is something that, starts to mix, starts to create a lot of confusion between the person, the actor, and the character. And in this confusion, I am quite a master. But it's this manipulation. I never told to them. I never even, I never make a trap, or there was no trap. I mean, the only trap was to put the microphones, and I knew that it will work. Because nobody can resist 6 hours of a microphone, not one day, a lot of days. And not in a normal thing, under the pressure of having to fight a bull of 600 kilos that you will die. What is the problem of the microphone? You don't even think about it. He was smarter, and he was reluctant to put the microphone. So I had to talk, and I convinced him what it was for good. I mean, was a noble thing. But of course, the microphone will record the sound in the middle of the arena that we need for the bull, for everything, for your little talk or breathing, but it will record all the weaknesses and all the fragilities and all the things you don't want to show, because the microphone will not stop, and who knows what these people on the edit will do. So I think they were a little bit, innocent, or with a lot of ingenuity when they said yes. At the same time, I admire a lot this. It means that they are brave. They don't. At the end, they don't give a shit if they say yes. Maybe they didn't, but at the end, I think he will love the film. Maybe now it's loving it more, or maybe, in 5 years, or, see as an important document, anthropological document. We are not even talking about bullfighting or himself. It's something that is interesting because it's anthropologically interesting, happening now with these people, could be some other people, who cares? But, it's a ritual in the heart of our society happening now. It has a value in itself, and there is a lot of liars there. But, I don't know, it's a very tricky question to talk about manipulation. But at least it was always done with love, some kind of love, some kind of curiosity. I said it already, but some kind of, I don't know, I learned from them, I wanted to be
There is
brave.
a respect.
Yes, this is important, because if you don't have respect, why don't you do a fiction? Why don't you write a book? If you use them, if you put the camera, it's because you are respectful. Because if you are so genius, invent a reality, find a fucking actor that will do this, will perform this, and you do whatever you want. You don't need a real person, giving you, true, parts of his soul to exploit it speculatively, in a speculative way. Some kind of respect. And this was an obsession of mine on the edit, to equilibrate or re-equilibrate all the elements that was was captured in the images. There is the spiritual element. Maybe it's there, maybe not. Okay. But, there are some, the comical thing. Why not? The violence. Of course, it's very important. Life and death, and it's the unfairness or injustice. Maybe it's there too. The plastic beauty. It has to be there too. So to re-equilibrate, or to respect a little bit the hierarchy, or not the hierarchy, but a little bit equilibrium of all these things that the camera captured. If I had put, what they said, they complain about the violence because I put, 3 or 4 close-ups of the bull dying, and a little bit of blood, Do you know how many, close-ups of the bull dying I had? I could have put, 25. And I didn't put 0, I didn't put 1, I didn't put 10, 12, or 25. I put 4, because I thought that this was the right thing for the equilibrium, for the respectful equilibrium of the film. So it's not a, You know, it's not like I am stupid or whatever. I mean, it's just, oh, the violence. Okay. Maybe, you know, when he complained about the violence, I didn't say anything because, you know, it was even childish, but I said, oh, what the fuck, you know, it's ironic. No, it's you that what you are doing this. What are you talking about? I mean, ridiculous. So the equilibrium and the respect, I think it's still there, and I am not praising myself of having any kind of ethics, because as I said before, the betrayal is the most important thing here, because if not, there is no way of, you know, there is no way of making a documentary somehow. And, well, I only love, you know, you have to find the good things of the bad people and the bad things of the good people. You know, this is what is beautiful on documentary, because if not, we'll say, you know, to see how the bad things about Hitler, okay, we all know, but the good things about Hitler, with images, that we don't have images of Hitler, of good things probably, but let's put it with these bullfighters, you know, find the, so it's the James Ellroy thing, you know. We don't have to take permanent, you know, some characteristics of people as a permanent characteristic that it will never move one single, you know. Why? You know, did you make a mistake in your life? We make a lot of mistakes. No? Why you have to take 2 or 3 keywords as permanent? It's very strange.
Abbiamo fatto 2 domande e Albert ci ha già raccontato praticamente tutto del suo film, ma lascerei spazio a un'ultima domanda. Ok.
Grazie mille. In realtà è una curiosità sempre tecnica. Hai citato il film di Parreno, quello su Zidane, e infatti mi era venuto in mente, sono contento che... Ma avevi valutato di girare come quello in 35 mm o era impossibile in questo caso? E poi il lavoro sul suono, che è così... sembra quasi artificiale, perché è così quasi silenzioso e si sentono così bene le voci, ma è tutto in presa diretta e c'è tanto lavoro di post-produzione? E poi volevo chiederti, hai parlato di esibizionismo, di narcisismo, volevo chiederti se l'impulso di indagare questi temi legati così tanto al maschile ti sia venuto, era quello che ti ha guidato alla corrida o se li hai scoperti facendo poi il lavoro?
Il maschile?
Diciamo il narcisismo, questi temi del maschile e femminile che sono così poi evidenti nel film.
Well, the image, of course, it's impossible. The Zidane film is done in 35. But we couldn't do it because we have 700 hours and he only shoot 1 football match with a lot of cameras, but on the budget things. And it's impossible because my idea was to push the camera operators to find cinema image. And if you see the film of Parreno, you know, the shots are like very short. You know, there is not even one single shot that lasts more than 5 seconds or 8 seconds. You know, here you have shots of, you know, 3 minutes or 2 minutes and a half. You know, so I don't know. It's a different approach that it was, but the film is blow up to 35. This is another story. And then it comes, you know, a scan of the 35 blow up. This I did it in all my films, except because of budget reasons of the death of Louis XIV. But all of my other films has been done like that, and I will keep on doing it. For the price, now it's interesting. Sound, I mean, everything is direct sound. I would say 98%, but it's a matter of mix. It's a matter of creativity on the mix or solving problems, because I cannot have the perfect sound I want. They didn't allow us to be in the corridor sometimes. The guy who didn't want to put the, you know, the microphone here. So what I can do? I mean, I can do what I can do, creatively what I have. But in general, I would say I don't like to make any kind of fake effects. You know, we did a little bit of effects of breathing of the, you know, we use it from other corridas because we shoot a lot, and we use when the bull was closer, and we try to, you know, synchronize. But it was real sound of real toros, of real places, with him also, but with better conditions. But it's a very, but in fact you never know, because it's a matter of perspective. Because here what I wanted to do, it's, we don't see the audience there. Nobody has this perspective. It is a close-up or it's a very intimate perspective of what he's doing. I decided to do this because I wanted to make you feel something. Something that is the equivalent of what you feel in the arena, even if you are in the last row and you don't see anything. But you feel things. So here, in order to make you feel things, I need a little bit of sound. At the same time, sometimes can be contradictory because you have the experience of any kind of a stadium, or in the Zidane film that it's a very artificial sound, that, okay, if you are far, you cannot hear, even if it's a close-up. How can you hear, such a intimate thing? Of course it's the convention of cinema, but here it's a documentary. And here, so it was a very tricky balance of make-believe, at the same time make it artificial because it's creative, or it's an artistic work, or I can afford to do whatever I want, but at the same time, the organicity. That this idea that the film is without filter should match with the idea that you feel a lot of organicity. If not, it's like an arty film for the museums, as I said. So it was a matter of, very tricky balance at the level of sound, and there was a lot of discussions with me, with the sound mixer and the sound editors, because with the images, we didn't make any kind of change. It was just, okay, eliminate one boom or whatever, but not, in my previous films I did a lot, but not in this one. But on the sound, to keep, an interesting perspective that it's organic but artificial and coherent with the point of view, it's not that easy, that fills the three elements. So I did what I could. I think it works quite well. There will be very long discussions about that, and in fact there was even fights with the edit, because I thought that, for example, and this is but this is arbitrary. The breathing of the toro, very up, very loud, I didn't care. When, for example, he's going to pam, with the boot of the, the horse, and, and it's attacking the horse, and clang, 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 and with the horns, and I don't care. I would have put it louder. But when the bull, for example, is walking the steps, it was bothering me. I would have put it softer. But you never know, you are doing the mix, it's limited time. You don't have any kind of perspective. You don't know if I am wrong or the mixer is wrong. Everybody it's a very subtle thing and very esoteric decisions. So nobody knows what is good or what is not good. Of course, we are talking about a slight or small difference, but still, there were strong discussions even of the last day of, the mix. And I thought that some things should be louder and some things should be softer. But, everybody had different opinions there. And it was very difficult to arrive on it. And for the third thing was about...
Il narcisismo, questo tipo di narcisismo, se lo avevi già pensato prima o se è venuto fuori?
Sincerely, no. I didn't know what I would find. And the guy, it's true that it's especially interesting at this level. Because it's totally, how to say, opaque. There is a lot of opacity. There is a lot of, hermetic. It's hermetic, and I don't know. But it looks, it works very well because he's modern. Somehow he's a little bit a modern, contemporary like us. The helpers look from Pasolini times. But himself. So I love this idea that it will put a contrast. But at the same time, I don't understand exactly what does it mean, this contrast, or what he's saying about him, or about bullfighting, or about the other ones, or because he looks very committed, and he looks very, with a deep engagement, with what he's doing. This is out of question, and also he's very brave. But then he looks like a little bit child and modern, like a rock and roll star, but like a youth rock and roll star, no? Like these people, these groups that are making Yeah, songs for teenagers, or yes, but then it's doing incredible things. It's the number one that nobody else is able to do. Again, some ambiguities. That is the complexity of life, and I don't know. I like it. I like this that even myself I don't understand.
Lui sembra ossessionato da quello che gli altri pensano di lui.
Yes, but it's because what I said, I think that he thinks, not he thinks, but he feels that he has the right to be very narcissistic because it's the highest level of exhibitionism. When you do this so beautiful dance, and on top of that it's life-threatening, what else you can, it's just the war. But the war, they will not do this super beautiful and feminine dance or, delicate things. They will just do bam, 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 or whatever. So both things together. So I think there is some kind of justified narcissism because of the exhibitionism. The super raffinated exhibitionist part.
Grazie Albert, grazie per la generosità con cui hai risposto. Praticamente una masterclass con solo 2 o 3 domande. Grazie davvero, grazie a tutti per essere stati qua fino a tarda ora. Ovviamente fate passaparola, questo è il vostro dovere a questo punto per sostenere il film e far venire più persone possibile a vederlo, a scoprirlo. Grazie ancora. Come si dice, se vi è piaciuto, se non vi è piaciuto parlatene lo stesso.